So this is going to be a normal speed, not speeded up tutorial. So as I said at the beginning of the crayon testing video, you might not have watched that. The footage for this, I will include it, but it starts while I'm doing this part here. The first bit, for some reason, didn't record. Basically, I've traced it through, so I've put the traceable, cue grabbing the traceable. So I've cut the traceable down and I've put it underneath my Bible. As you can see it through the Bible pages, and I've traced through the pencil, and the rest you'll be able to see as I've used watercolours on this particular Bible, and this is in my Hannah Done It Bible. So last night I sat down to re-record the footage because I knew I'd lost it, and did this. This is a free download on the same page as you find this video, free to everyone. And I did this, and what I used was some of these, I'm reaching for them, paint pens. They're acrylic paint pens. They're a bit like the Posca pens, if you've come across them, but Posca pens are more expensive. These work okay, Posca are nicer, but you get what you pay for, a little bit like the crayons. So this is all to do with gathering and the fact that God had provided everything in the Garden of Eden, and then basically they messed up. So what we're going to do today is to put that one away. And when I did that Bible one, I cut my Bible page down, I've cut it down, cut that down and put it into my Bible. And what I did was, to keep it where it was supposed to be going, I washi taped it down, flipped the page over, and then I just put a book underneath here so that it was the right height to work on. And most people have got this page empty in their Bibles. And as you can see, the paint pens, the black's gone through, but that's only because when I pulled the washi tape off this side, I'd left it on for too long and I'd heat tooled it, and it's pulled some of my paper off. So live and learn. So for this one, this paper that I printed this on is the same paper that's in your devotionals. It's really nice paper. It's HP paper. I'll put a link in the description below if you're on YouTube, and it's thin enough that if you want to, you can make it as a tip-in. If you want to trace it through, you can trace through on this. I'll just grab this one again. You can see through it enough to trace through. That's why we use it for the devotional guides. But you can also go straight onto this, which is what I'm going to do on this particular occasion, using some of the water soluble crayons that you saw me using earlier. So with less talking and more doing, let's get on then. So we're looking at Genesis 1, 11 and 29, and it said, "Then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These fruits will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came." And this is what happened. Then God said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and the trees from." Don't you marvel at how God provided for us and how it was all there? But then later on, in verse 26, God decides to create humans, and then everything goes wrong, because it says, "By the sweat of your brow you will have food to eat." So basically, through Adam and Eve's act, we were destined to toil to make food to eat, to grow food to eat. And this is kind of what I was thinking about, and the first thing that came up in my mind, and I think I wrote it in the reflection, was about, let me have a look, about the fact that the Andy Warhol Campbell soup tins, and this is what I've modelled this on. So if you've not seen the soup tins, it's a print of soup tins in different colours, and normally really bright kind of psychedelic, that kind of colour. So I've taken 4 colours. I've taken bright green, yellow, a bright pink and a bright blue to do these cherries in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to colour the cherries in. Now you don't have to be perfect. Now with these it's a little bit difficult to get right into all the edges, but get the majority of it coloured as best you can. I'm leaving the highlight and you'll see why. These Portfolio are really creamy. There are oil-based pastel as opposed to wax, whereas the Neo Colour 2s, the other thinner ones that I'm using, are waxed based, but they're all water soluble. You might have worked out that I like my water soluble mediums. Each to their own. You could do this in pencil grey, so coloured pencils without any soluble. You could do it in watercolours, watercolour pencils, pencil crayons. You could do it in acrylics. Use whatever you have. Now I'm doing all the cherries in all 4 different colours. I'm going to grab a piece of tissue. Start with the lightest colour first, and I'm just going to activate it around the cherry. That's it. I'm going to go for the green now. I'm just activating the wax around the cherry, just to smooth it all out, to dissolve all the wax or the oil in this case, because these are the... That one was a Neo Colour. Not a Neo Colour, it was a Portfolio. And this one's a Portfolio too. I need a bit more water. That's how we're getting there. Now, if you're not quite getting the coverage you want, you can go back in a minute and use the top of the crayon. So I could use the top of the crayon just to put a bit more pigment. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just rolling. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. Rolling my paintbrush around the top and putting a bit more colour on. I'm not going to add, because this isn't watercolour paper, I'm not going to add any more on that for the minute. I don't want the paper to get too saturated. And then I'm going to use the pink, activate the pink now. And you can use a smaller brush than this if you want. But I've probably grabbed the wrong brush. I don't know where my nice. I've got lots of nice brushes, but I'm just trying to take off all. Try again. Trying to dissolve all the crayon away. So I'm going to continue at the bottom while this top bit dries off. It will go through a little bit, look, but it is what it is. So I'm going to I'm going to go one colour further round for the background. Now if you're not able to colour straight, use a ruler. Suppose like that. Don't worry about going over the edge, that's why I've left it open as I have done. What you don't want is stuff going past. Now you can't be overly accurate with these crayons, so don't try and be. Just try and give it a good colouring. And then I'm just going to turn it upside down and put my ruler and colour towards my ruler. I'm just going to ensure I've got enough coverage at the bottom, which I haven't. I want to go past the lines that I've drawn. Like that. I'm going to use the blue on this one. Now all I'm doing is, as I've said before, these have been in a basket, look, in a basket, and they've got a bit dirty, so what I'm trying to do is just get rid of any any other colours that have transferred onto them before I put them on work. More of that story is don't store them in a basket. But they've been used for teaching, so. Again, if you want to make sure that you're not going over the edge, use a ruler. Like so. And then we're going to go pink on this one. Oh, I've gone over a little bit, but hey ho. Not a lot I can do about that. But remember, while we're doing this, it's not about the artwork, it's about thinking about the piece, the Bible reading. So I'm going to forever now associate the Bible reading about us having to basically toil with the fact that my Siri's just decided I'm talking to him, and with the fact with this image, sorry, of cherries, and it helps me go further into God's word. It helps me just study his word better than I would had I just read it, because I've created a piece of art as a reflection on his word. I'm a visual learner. I remember pictures, so I know that this picture, this cherry, and even the picture of the orange will forever remind me of this Bible reading. So all I'm doing now is activating all of this. Now, if this was to turn out a disaster, which it could do, then it wouldn't matter, because it's about me spending time in the Word. So it's going to get really boring if you sit and watch me do all of this. So I'm going to pause the video, get this done, and come back when I've finished it. So I've been in and activated all the crayon, and I'm just adding some more to the cherries because some of them are a little bit wishy-washy and I want them to have a little bit more impact, but I'm kind of keeping the shading to the bottom, so the colour is going to the bottom of the fruit because the highlight is near the top anyway. Now what I'm finding with the cheaper ones, so like particularly this pink, is it leaves a lot of spots where if things don't dissolve properly. Oops. Making sure everything's all dissolved. Just dry it off. So because you can't get small lines with these, I've decided to grab some of my watercolour pencils. Now these are just these are the Arteza ones. They're not particularly expensive, they're mid-range, and I've grabbed them in the similar colours to what I've been using with my water-soluble wax crayons, and you could just use ordinary crayons, it just happens I've got watercolour ones to hand. I'm going to colour in the stems. I think probably need a darker green for this. I've just tried them at the bottom, so now I'm going to better green. And maybe I'm going to cut that bit off so it doesn't matter. So the thing that's bothering me at the minute is the fact that close to this here, there's white gaps, so I've just got a very fine paintbrush. I'm just using the top of the crayon as I described earlier. I'm just going in there and filling in some of the gaps that I'm not happy with. So this particular crayon didn't seem to dissolve fully in places, so it's left these kind of gaps. So I'm just adding a little bit more pigment in there. And I'm going to have to live with the fact that the stems are going to be slightly funny colour. Just going to have to live with it, but it'll be fine. And then I'm going to go and change the highlight colours. So green highlight, I'm going to go yellow highlight there, blue highlight, and a pink highlight. Now you could take this further if you wanted to, it's up to you. I'm just going to grab a black pen. And this is like a silver pen. Just to tidy those bits up there. Now if you're going to go over it with a marker pen, because it's got wax in it, make sure that you scribble your pen off afterwards so you don't fog your pen up. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a pencil. She said lummox ridging around the study. Pencil. And some scissors. I'm going to trim it out. And then we'll be able to see whether there's any bits that we've missed. And I can already see with these marks they've got a little bit, particularly on this corner here. Need a little bit more pigment. There we go. Okay, also I'm going to use a little bit more yellow here, just a yellow bit more. I want it a bit more punchy. The yellow, as you've noticed, or might have noticed also, has got little marks on it from where they've been next to other things in my tin. Dry that bit off, and then I'm going to take my note-taking Bible, I think, and I'm going to find the bit that, now the reason I didn't put it on there is because it's already got drawings on it, and also the other part of the reading, which is here, the 3, it's not got enough space, so if that will fit in there. You can do it that way, you can do it that way. I'm going to put it on this side so it's opposite. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my artist pen, or you can grab a Sharpie. It's up to you how you do this. And I'm going to put the references, so Genesis 1, and it's 11, isn't it? (11 to 12), and Genesis 3, 3. I think it's 29. So 22 in the end. I'm just going to put God provided us with all we need free, but after the fall we now have to work at it. And I shall put that in there with a piece of washi tape, and that will be our lesson for today.